When Europeans arrived in 1673 and saw the beauty of what is now known as Kingston, Ontario, Canada, once the capital of Canada and the home of our first Prime Minister, Sir John A. Macdonald, they sent word home to family and friends that a place rich in beauty and resources awaited them on the shores of Lake Ontario. But there is another aspect of Kingston life, a small Jewish community that is over 100 years old, whose congregation has welcomed Jews from all over the world, including those who suffered during the Holocaust. This is their story of survival, of life before the Holocaust, and their lives now in a small Canadian town called Kingston. My name is Marilyn Cogan. I know their stories well because my parents also survived the Holocaust. According to Queen's University sociologist and Holocaust survivor Marion Meyer, until the 20th century, the Jewish population of Canada remained very small. The first known Jews who settled in Kingston were brothers Abraham and Samuel Nordheimer during the year 1840. 17 years later, another German Jew named Simon Obendorfer chose Kingston as his home. Jewish immigrants escaping the pogroms of Russia and Eastern Europe found a safe haven in Kingston. They established businesses along Princess, Queen, King, and Montreal Street and chose to live close to their places of work. At one time, there were 3 separate groups of Jewish worshippers who were loosely organized into small congregations. These groups eventually decided to form one congregation known as the Hebrew Congregation of Kingston, under the direction of Simon Obendorfer, Louis Abramson, K. Zaks, T. Zaks, L. Bennett, and Max Sussman. They chose to build a synagogue on the assurance that Isaac Cohen would be responsible for the erection of the synagogue, which was completed in 1910. Beth Israel Orthodox Congregation was erected at 148 Queen Street and relocated to its current location on Center Street in 1961. Although a number of Jews were turned away from Canada's shores during World War II, many still chose Canada as their new home after the war ended. According to former Queen's history researcher Stephen Sloan, with the end of World War II, the atrocities of Hitler's regime in Germany showed the world the darkest, most horrible side of mankind and intensified the feeling of vulnerability and homelessness of all Jews. In Kingston, the experience touched the Jewish community in a way which made them realize their uniqueness and their sameness. Many of our local survivors have said that Kingston is a friendly place for Jews, and that in the 1940s there was not overt anti-Semitism. Many survivors and their families settled here after receiving teaching positions at Queen's University. Others found Kingston's proximity to the States, major waterways, as well as major Canadian cities, a good place to start a business and raise a family. Although Kingston has many advantages and has been a safe community for raising children, our Holocaust survivors still struggle with the nightmares associated with their personal tragedies. QECVI student Caitlin Santos asked the survivors if they remembered who was the first to arrive in Kingston. Most could not remember, but according to local Holocaust survivor Esther Lightstone's memory, one of the first survivors to arrive here was Leon Kiwak. Unfortunately, Leon is also the first of this group of 9 survivors to pass away. We lost Leon in the summer of 2008 after a lengthy illness. Long-time Kingston residents Esther Lightstone, Carl Kramel, Irene Bissett, and Leon Kiwak originally came from Poland. None of them has returned to Poland, nor do they have any desire to do so.
It would be too painful because of both families and my side of the family. My mother's and my father's were perished. 48 members, and we were the only one who survived. They killed my grandmother, who was about my age now, which is 80 something. And they took my cousin's child and tore it apart in front of her and threw it against the wall. they guessed my aunts and my uncles. So to me, Poland is a big grave, so I wouldn't go.
Kingston has been home to many other survivors. Some have passed away, and some do not wish to speak about their past. Esther was unable to talk about her experiences for a long time. In recent years, she has volunteered her time to share her memories and wisdom with students in the Limestone Board of Education.
Learned from working with students about the Holocaust.
I find it the most rewarding of all the things that I have thought I would do. And it was amazing to get the attention from young people and they're really participating sincerely about the story of the Holocaust.
Other survivors, such as Laszlo Kornstein, Marion Meyer, and Yochebed Katan, also speak to Kingston students from the public and separate school boards. When Marion Meyer, who is originally from Germany, speaks to students, she often tells them the story of the dog who followed her when she was trying to escape through the woods.
German Shepherd and things like that. And he did his job very well.
The students enjoy listening to this seemingly light anecdote, but by the end of her presentation, they had a greater respect for the gravity of the circumstances and the fragility of the line between surviving or perishing.
No.
Survivors have emigrated to Kingston from many countries in Europe. Istvan Anhalt, Margit Kornstein, and her husband Laszlo Kornstein are from Hungary. They too have lived in Kingston for many years. Professor Anhalt witnessed the murder of many Jews on the banks of the Danube. Laszlo Kornstein escaped the Nazis 5 times and the Soviets twice. Margit Kornstein survived the horrors of the women's concentration camp Ravensbrück. Marion, Istvan, and Irene are retired Queen's professors. Each of these remarkable individuals is renowned in their field. Marion is a respected sociologist who has written a book about the Jews of Kingston. Istvan is a world-famous composer and Juno Award winner. Irene is a former law professor and has also authored a memoir and a book entitled God, Faith, and the Holocaust. There is a plaque in Irene's honor in the law building at Queen's University. Daniel Elkin has been the rabbi at Beth Israel congregation since 1998. He has provided spiritual nurturing to local Holocaust survivors.
Firstly, I would like to mention that we create a community. We allow them to be part of a community. We encourage them to get involved in the community. And this gives them support because many of their family were perished in the Holocaust, and the community becomes, to a certain extent, family to them. In addition, Holocaust survivors, some of them anyway, have a need to express themselves. Some of them that have come out of the Holocaust feel it's their mission to make sure people do not forget. And therefore, we offer them in the synagogue an opportunity to come and speak to our youth and to speak on Holocaust Remembrance Day. A number of opportunities for them to articulate their feelings and their experiences so that they get the sense that the Holocaust will not be forgotten.
Last year, QECVI teacher Pamela Simon decided to create a Holocaust education center called Treasures and Testimonies with her students. This decision was based on the keen interest of her students and their desire to learn more about the Holocaust.
It all began with this book, Hannah's Suitcase, about a little girl named Hannah who was the same age as these girls were 2 years ago when they first read this book. This story is about a little girl who had dreams of becoming a teacher and still continues to teach us about the Holocaust. We had a lot of questions. We needed more answers. And so we decided, as we were searching for those answers, that we would start our own museum called Treasures and Testimonies.
The students' curiosity and desire to know more about the survivors in Kingston sparked an initiative that would change their lives and the school forever. Pamela and her students interviewed 9 local Holocaust survivors and designed wooden trees in their honor. Each survivor chose the color of his or her tree and gave the students personal documents and artifacts to use on the tree and to place in the accompanying treasure box. Students from other classes were eager to help. Mr. Lockington's tech class built the trees, and Mrs. Swarren's art class designed a mural for the museum space. Once the trees were completed, the survivors were invited to the school to view their trees and meet the students who honored them with their art. Two Kingston survivors, Irene Bissett and Esther Lightstone, have been dear friends for many years. Unfortunately, Irene's health began deteriorating last year, and she moved to Oregon to live near her son. Packing up 40 years of memories was difficult for Irene, and now she and her dear friend communicate by telephone. Student Tanisha Costa talks about her reactions and feelings about the Holocaust.
It makes me more thankful that we live in a community where everyone is equal and not everybody is judged, because I think that when you bully someone and when you are rude to someone because of their differences, that you're starting your own little Holocaust, because you might not like somebody and then all of your friends don't like that person, and then it just leads down to one person being treated horribly for a reason that, it shouldn't be,
Pamela Simon's grade 10 history students made photo stories about the Holocaust this year. Grade 10 student Brittany Wan Peters focused on Ravensbrook and Mrs. Cornstein's experience in this camp. Brittany had the opportunity to meet Mrs. Cornstein after the film was completed.
It was important to meet Mrs. Cornstein because I did a photo story on Ravensbrook, and she was at Ravensbrook, so I wanted to learn more about her experiences there. I was kind of sad when I met her because she was so little, and I don't know, you couldn't imagine her going through that.
Pamela's Treasures and Testimonies students asked Esther Lightstone, "When the last survivor is gone, what do you fear most?"
I think there is enough documentation for people to know, and that will go on in history forever.
Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, is a yearly event. Jews from Kingston gather together at this time. Memories surface. Some are painful reminders of lost childhoods, while others are stories of strength and courage. For everyone who attends, it is a sobering and moving experience. The 6 candles that are being lit represent the 6 million Jews who perished. The Jews have an expression, tikkun olam, which translated from Hebrew means repairing the world. In their unique way, the teachers and students who are part of the Treasures and Testimonies Center of Holocaust and Genocide Studies are making their contribution to tikkun olam. Sometimes the consequence of terrible atrocities is the contagion, the perpetuation of further atrocities and acts of hate. But it doesn't have to be this way. We must never forget that the Holocaust happened. But what else can we learn from this? We must learn about the power of evil and the evil of indifference and inhumanity. We must also recognize the power of love and courage and morality and spirituality. In our lifetime, we must say, never again, and may it be thus.
Remember you too clearly. share when there's no one there. I'll imagine what you'd say. I'll see you in another life now, babe. I'll free you in my dreams, but when I reach across the galaxy, I will miss your company. I'll be looking for company. Look and listen through the years. Someday you may hear me still cry. I'm still crying for company. I'm still crying for company. So now you're going out to live your life. You say we'll meet each other now and then, but we'll never, never be the same. And I know I'll never have this chance again. But no, no, not like you, not like you. I'll see you in another life. I'll free you in my dreams, but when I reach across the galaxy, and I will someday, I will miss your company. I'll be looking for company. Look and listen through the years.